In this video, I want to share with you a very important topic that I've been seeing over the last year when it comes to people overcoming their anxiety. Whether you're experiencing physical symptoms, if you're getting intrusive thoughts, if you're getting depersonalization, derealization, the weird emotions, you may be finding anything to give you any sort of relief. Well, one of the things I want to talk about is something that I've discovered over the last year and a half, which is the dangers of watching these videos. And I know it sounds a little bit weird because you're watching this video right now, but it is important that you understand something that I've been seeing, this phenomenon that's been happening. And if you can understand a few principles, well, you won't fall into this abyss that I'm seeing a lot of anxiety sufferers fall into. So with that said, let's get started. So when I was struggling with anxiety, just like you, I was desperate to find answers. I was trying to find ways of how to overcome this. I started reading anything and everything that had the word anxiety in it. Eventually, I even went into self-help. I started reading books by self-help healers, just generalists, not really even anxiety specific, because it made me feel like I was doing something about my anxiety. I was doing something to get better. And when I created this channel was really designed to help people get the knowledge, the correct knowledge to recovery. And so once I got better and I wanted to commit myself to helping people around the world fully overcome this, well, one of the first things I wanted to do was create content where I could show you guys how recovery looks like. But there's something that happened as a consequence, and that is this. A lot of people end up using these videos as a coping crutch itself. See, anxiety recovery is a lot about knowledge. You really have to understand what's happening, and that's what's great about this channel, which is it's a starting point to your recovery. But what I often find is people don't take the next step, which is executing, which is actually following through. And what happens, the biggest danger is this, is that these videos can give you the impression that you're focused on recovery even though you're not. And what I mean by this is it can seem like you're doing something if you're watching all my videos and all of this content and all the books that I recommend, and maybe even other YouTube channels or other anxiety healers. It can feel like you're doing something watching all this stuff, gathering all this information. But if you don't put it into use, it's pointless. It becomes a hobby. And that's what I'm finding a lot with a lot of the people on the channel. Now, the great news is that a lot of people recover. And when we're in the mentorship, I'm seeing people every day recover. Even I'm getting emails from you guys talking about how you guys are recovering. However, there is a group of people, I would say like a fringe group, that has been watching my videos for years. They've been watching my videos from the very beginning. And to me, that's a little bit weird, because the point of this channel is for you to watch it, understand it, focus on recovery, and let go of the subject. But what I often find is happening is that people end up making this a hobby, where it was like me when I was reading about self-help during my anxiety struggling days, where I was just reading self-help because it gave me the impression that I was doing something. And that's probably something you're doing too. Or maybe it's not something you're doing, but it's something that you should be very aware of, because videos like these are great. However, they're only the first step in your recovery. The biggest step in recovery is action, which is right action, focusing on the right steps to recovery. See, even if you look at it, the way we've created our mentorship, the idea of the mentorship was to help people fully overcome. It wasn't like we just created these videos and then people just recovered. It doesn't work like that. A lot of recovery is action, it's execution. And what we found was the best way to do that is just guide people ourselves. It would have been a lot easier for me just to make these videos and push it out to the world and say, hey, if you want to join the mentorship, you get these videos and you get to recovery. But what the truth is that people don't actually recover like that. A lot of recovery is about understanding what's happening and then focusing on executing. Here's a great example I like to give. Anxiety recovery is a lot like swimming. Right? You can watch all the videos about swimming. And here's the interesting thing. If you watch a lot of videos or read a lot of books about swimming, it will give you the idea that you understand how swimming works. However, If you're thrown into the water, no amount of books is going to help you learn how to swim in that moment. The only way to learn how to swim is by getting in the water. And the danger of these kinds of content that I'm seeing is that it gives you the impression that you're focusing on recovery, when in fact, all you're becoming is really an information junkie. You're just getting information, but you're not executing. And this is a consequence I see in the anxiety community, but I see it in every community. A lot of people try to read about something, but they don't focus on executing. And so the biggest thing is this: anxiety recovery is like playing an instrument, right? Until you have an instrument in your hand and you're playing and you're messing up, it doesn't really matter. You can read about everything, about every instrument in the world, but that doesn't show you what it actually is. So much of recovery is about actually executing, it's implementing. And the hardest part really is when you're doing it on your own is you're not sure what's the right way to do it. And you keep going back to the videos, or you may be going back to something else where you're trying to figure it out what's happening. But a lot of recovery happens from experiencing anxiety in those moments. And a lot of the keys that you will get to recovery actually happen in those moments. It's not happening in the moments and then you look back. It's actually experiencing a panic attack in the middle of, you're driving and you let it pass and you're like, oh my God, I can overcome it. Oh my God, the panic attacks actually end up going away. I don't have to do anything. See, no amount of books, no amount of videos will convince you of that. I can tell you a million times that all panic attacks end, but until you experience one from start to finish and continue doing what you're doing, none of it matters. The biggest key to recovery is reference experiences, which is experiencing anxiety in certain situations, being able to respond correctly, and being guided through the process. So it's very important to ask yourself, what would happen? What would happen if, let's say, this YouTube channel shut down? What would happen if the free Facebook group disappeared? What would happen if my other social media platforms or, my book disappeared? How would you react? Would you be okay? Would you know the information that you would need to focus on recovery? Or would you panic? Or would you say, hey, Shaan, can you find me this video? Or hey, oh God, how am I gonna find this content? Because if you're this latter, then you're probably using these videos as a coping crutch. And you're using this as a way to avoid what needs to get done, which is recovery. But if you're on the other track and you're like, hey, it doesn't matter, I know exactly what to do, then it's totally okay. And this is also what the mentorship is designed to do, right? It's designed to guide you, but not forever. The goal is that you become your own guide. The goal is not to make the mentorship a coping crutch itself. It's to help you heal and let go of the subject. But because anxiety is such a big part of your life right now, that it's very easy to make it a hobby. But the key to recovery is, once you learn the solution, to let this go. This is not a space you should be in for years. I understand if you're not knowing what to do or you haven't found the solution yet, that you've been in this cycle for a while, and because of that you've been in the anxiety space. But once you get better, you really should move forward and get past this and let go of this chapter in your life. So I hope this video helps. It's something that's been on my mind that I wasn't sure if I wanted to release and share. But I think it's important, and I'm seeing as this channel matures, as you guys are seeing more recovery stories, as the mentorship is getting even better and better, there are some consequences that happen where I see a lot of people get stuck. And I think it's my job to identify, hey, make sure you're not getting stuck. And so anyways, I hope this video helps. If you want to apply for mentorship and really just focus on overcoming this, stop piecemealing these videos, trying to be like, oh, am I doing this right? Am I not? Oh, is there a video on this? Shaan, can you make a video on that? These videos are more general. Yeah, I can't make specific content for you in particular because I don't really know your situation. So what I do is I make content based on general info. But if you want specific targeted information guidance where you want me to even see if you're doing it right, where you want me to see that you're actually making progress, well, then the mentorship is for you. And so if that's you, you can hit the link down below and apply for mentorship. Again, we work with a small group of people. I want to make sure people get better, and I want to make sure that we're focusing on helping people fully overcome. And so for some people it will be a good fit, and for some people it may not be a good fit. We'll be fully transparent with you there, and again, focusing on long-term freedom. I hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next one.